let's get some more insight into the central bank's plan to redesign some of the Naira notes currently in circulation. Joining me on the News at 10 is the Chief Executive Officer of the Center for Promotion of Private Enterprises and the immediate past Director General of the Lagos Chamber of Commerce and Industry, Dr. Muda Yusuf. Welcome to the News at 10.
Thank you very much, Millicent.
Firstly, were you surprised by the announcement?
I was surprised. I was surprised because there are more important issues which I expect the CBN to be addressing. Only recently, Nigeria was downgraded by Moody's, from B2 to B3 on account of weak and deteriorating domestic financial situations, domestically and externally. And of course, there are also other issues around the foreign exchange. We all know what the challenges the investors have been facing. We know what is happening to the manufacturers, to airlines and all of that. Sometimes even very embarrassing situations around the foreign exchange. Of course, issues of credit, issues of high inflation. These, for me, are much more important and burning issues, which I expect to engage the attention of policymakers.
But they did cite, they talked about cashless economy, that this will help the cashless economy of the country. They also cited the need to take charge of the currency in circulation, especially those holding Naira, one of the reasons for its decision.
You see, all the issues outlined there as the objectives or the purpose of this plan to redesign the currency, I can't find any connection between the act of redesigning the currency and these objectives. We are talking about holding the currency. What's the proof that if you redesign, people will not hold the new notes? We are talking about the fact that people are also holding the new currency notes. You need to go to event centers here around Lagos. The new notes that you don't find in the banks, you find them in event centers. People are hawking them. Where are they coming from? Are they not coming from the banks? And in terms of policy, the issue of currency manipulation or redesigning has no impact on monetary policy. Currency as a proportion of money supply is less than 7%. The total value of currency you have in the economy is about 3.3 trillion. Total money supply is 48 trillion. So how will redesigning the currency impact on policy? There's no connection at all. So I don't see this achieving any of this objectives. It's just a very big distraction. It's going to impose a lot of costs on the economy because this is not going to be cheap. We are talking about printing 3.3 trillion currency notes. That's a lot. Then you talk about the logistics. This is a very big country. How are you going to navigate all of that with many of the local governments not having even one or two branches of banks? Then we have all these issues of flooding, connectivity problems. We have an election coming up. How are we going to deal with all of this? And we are dealing with this in a space of 1.5 months to deal with all of this.
Do you think this will cause panic?
It will cause panic. It's going to cause a lot of dislocation. And my advice is that we need to just retrace our steps on this. Because I'm not seeing any value. This is going to create a lot of confusion. There are so many people in so many remote villages where there are no banks. What will happen to their currency?
Dr. Yusuf, according to global best practice, it is central banks everywhere do this redesign production every 5-8 years. And we're just doing this 20 years ago.
We design for a purpose. And you also need to situate policies within the framework of your priorities. I mean, talk to any Nigerian, talk to any investor. This is the list of the problems that we have in this economy. So I don't think this is the way to go. And in any case, in terms of electronic payment, we are already doing very well. Electronic payment, first 7 months of this year, electronic payment was over 200 trillion transactions that took place on the electronic platform. POS platform, over 6 trillion. Mobile transfer, over 9 trillion. I mean, these are the things we should be improving and consolidating upon. This is a very big distraction. It's unnecessary, and it's going to be a waste of resources.
Just quickly, earlier
Yes.
I mentioned the FDC think tank and what they talked about, this change coming just days before a monumental presidential election. What impact do you see this having on the election?
It could disrupt the elections, yes. Because if people are busy, out of panic mode, trying to see how they can exchange their currency and all of that, it could disrupt the elections. So the timing itself is even very wrong. In addition to the fact that this is not bringing any value to this economy. So I think there should be a rethink about this policy.
We'd like to appreciate your time on the News at 10. Thank you so much, Dr. Muda Yusuf, who is the Chief Executive Officer, Center for Promotion and Private Enterprise. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you.